Hello, everyone. So I've wanted to do this video for quite some time and I just haven't figured out how until now. And I thought Vlogmas would be the perfect time. So today is Vlogmas day 4, and we are going to react to the most viewed video on my channel. Okay, so some background about this video is that about 6 years ago in 2018, I first started uploading to my YouTube channel kind of the type of content that I upload now. So some background is that when I first started my channel around like 10 or 11 years ago, I was actually a crafter and a scrapbooker. However, when we moved into our house that we have now in late 2017, I really decided that I wanted to do kind of more cooking content, grocery hauls. Really, I wanted to kind of appeal to working moms because I noticed that in my particular niche that was a content gap on YouTube, right? So most of the channels that I watched on YouTube were stay-at-home moms, and I was like, where is the working mom representation, right? And so I'm specifically talking about moms who like work outside the home, and that is what I wanted to present on YouTube. And I just started uploading. I didn't have a plan. I started uploading grocery hauls. I uploaded videos about my kids' lunches, and then eventually I started uploading meal prep videos. And that is what I found had the most success because people were really kind of interested in learning about how to meal prep on the weekends when you are a working mom. And so this particular video, it's called Epic Meal Prep, keto style, as you can see kind of on the thumbnail here. And so we're just going to watch this together, and I'm going to pause intermittently and let you know kind of what my thought process was or what my feelings are about this video. When I uploaded this video, I had no idea that it was going to reach like 1.2 million views or whatever it is now. And so I guess that's also kind of the thing that I want to communicate about YouTube and social media in general, is that you kind of just have to go with your passion and what you're feeling at the time. And you never know what's going to kind of like take off or resonate with people, right? So let's cheers. I have a glass of wine tonight. I'm traveling for work right now. And so whatever drink you have with you, whether it's water, coffee, tea, if you want to grab a glass of wine, let's go.
Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing a meal prep video with you. This is what I did this weekend to prep for the upcoming work week. Now, this is a keto style meal prep, but
okay, so one thing I feel like we have to keep in mind is that this particular video was originally uploaded in June of 2018. And I feel like the YouTube of 2018 is much different than the YouTube of 2024. There used to be kind of like channel intros where you would have like some type of like static screen or introduction at the beginning of your videos. And that's not really a thing anymore. The common advice on YouTube now is just to like jump right into your video, which I totally agree with. But you know, for example, I was going with what worked at the time. And of course, I was using like some type of like rock stock music. So, the other thing I guess to keep in mind about this particular topic is that at the time, I was still like very much into diet culture, and I have struggled with my weight throughout my adult life. And so at this point in time, I was intermittently trying to do keto, and keto was also very popular on social media at this time, right? So a lot of people were sharing keto and low carb videos. And honestly, like, I think that is what helped my channel grow at the beginning, was kind of jumping onto that trend. And not because I wanted to jump onto the trend, but just because that is what I happened to be doing at the time and what was working.
please keep watching even if you're not doing keto or low carb. I think that a lot of the recipes and ideas in this video will apply to just about anybody. So when I went grocery shopping this morning, I got a huge package of chicken breasts from Aldi that were on sale for $1.69 a pound. So I'm just going ahead and cutting those up. You can see that 2 of the chicken breasts I cut into cutlets, and I put those in a shallow glass. The recipes and ideas in this video will apply to just about anybody. So when I went grocery shopping this morning, I got a huge package of chicken breasts from Aldi that were on sale for $1.69 a pound. So I'm just going ahead and cutting those up. You can see that 2 of the chicken breasts I cut into cutlets, and I put those in a shallow glass dish. I'm going to marinate those. And then for the other pieces, I'm going to go ahead and chop those into small chunks. I'll be making a soup one night this week for supper, and so having those pieces of chicken in the refrigerator ready to go will really be a time saver when it comes time for me to cook that this week.
Okay, so a couple things. My voice, I feel, sounds like very high pitched and sort of, I don't know. I want to say it sounds unnatural. I don't know. I was so still new to YouTube at this time that I feel like I may have been trying to kind of put off. I don't want to say I was trying to put off a persona that wasn't me, but I was trying to sound very convincing and whatever. And there's something to that, right? So now me looking back at this 6 years later, I realize that there is a certain kind of voice or inflection at your voice or in your voice that can kind of engage people. Right. And now with the job I have where I have more experience in public speaking and facilitation and engaging people, I can kind of understand that. But at this time, I don't think I definitely did not have those, kind of concepts in my mind. But one of the things that was a very big issue about this video, which is super interesting, is that I did not wash my chicken on camera. And I remember when this video started taking off and I realized that it was getting more and more views for whatever reason. YouTube was kind of pushing it in the algorithm. And I started getting all of these comments. And there were so many people that commented that I wasn't washing my chicken. And at the time, I did not realize that was a thing. I did not realize that people were rinsing their chicken, washing their chicken in water with vinegar or salt or whatever. And now I realize that is more of a cultural thing. So there are some people who are taught to wash their meat. And personally, I had never grown up with that, right? And so I just took chicken out of the package. I was trimming it, cutting it, cubing it, doing whatever with it. If you look at kind of the FDA guidelines, they say not to wash meat or not to wash poultry, especially because it can create germs in your sink that then are, transferred to other things, whatever. I would say that now, 6 years later in my cooking, there are times when I do rinse my meat. I especially do rinse seafood. And even now I do rinse poultry depending on where I get it from. So sometimes when you get poultry from, especially I find meal delivery services, they don't have that kind of absorbent packaging material in the package. And so you open it and it's kind of there's a little bit of slime to it. I'm not trying to be gross, but that's just what happens. Obviously, the kind of litmus test is that whenever you open any meat, which you feel questionable about, whether it's beef, turkey, seafood, whatever, you need to smell it. If it doesn't pass the smell test, if it smells if you smell it and you're oh, you want to gag, you need to throw it away. However, if you smell it and it's fine and you feel like it needs to be rinsed, I feel like you can rinse it. Obviously, that's a personal preference, and I would love to hear about that in the comments below. But that was one of the most common comments that I got, and I feel very much contributed to the engagement of this video, which I feel is kind of hilarious because I didn't even know anything about it at the time.
So I'm just going to seal that bag up and get that in the fridge. For the chicken cutlets, what I'm going to do is cook these and then slice them up for salads this week for lunches. And so I'm just seasoning them with some lemon zest, some olive oil, salt, pepper, and some of the 21 seasoning Salute from Trader Joe's. That's my favorite kind of all-purpose seasoning. And then after I'm done zesting that lemon, I'll go ahead and squeeze the juice on the chicken as well.
Okay, so I still endorse this as a good chicken marinating technique. Basically, I was seasoning, putting olive oil, lemon juice, lemon zest, whatever on the chicken. I still feel like marinating chicken and cooking it and then slicing it up and having it in your fridge is a very good meal prep technique. I cannot remember specifically what my angle was at this time because I haven't watched this video in forever, but I do feel like that is still a good technique and that I do use semi often, and that honestly it's a good reminder to me that I probably need to use it more now. Right now, so Connor, you guys know my son, he is obsessed with having buffalo chicken quesadillas. He's like, every time I don't know what to make for dinner and I'm like, what do you want? He's like, I want a buffalo chicken quesadilla. So obviously having cooked chicken in your fridge is a great kind of solution to that, or basically anything else that you want, whether it's chicken salad or, you know, whatever. So I still feel like that's something that I could take a note of today. You can also see in the upper left portion of the video here. I believe this was a Sunday afternoon that I was doing this meal prep, and I had a beer. I was obviously having a few beers while I was doing meal prep. And so that's another thing that like people would comment in the video and they're like, oh, you're drinking beer while you're meal prepping. I'm like, well, I mean, meal prep and mimosas, am I right? Like, okay, whatever. We're all responsible adults here, but okay.
So I let this chicken sit in my marinade for about 2 hours in the refrigerator, and then I just heated up some olive oil in a very hot skillet, and I'm going to go ahead and saute these on both sides until they're cooked through. When they're done, you just want to remove them to a plate and let them rest for about 20 minutes. After they're done resting, you can slice them. I like to make sure that I slice them pretty thin on an angle so that the meat is really tender. And then I will go ahead and pack those up. These are really great for salads and wraps during the week to take to work. And they're also great to put in kids' lunch boxes too.
Do you guys like all of this like stock music that I was using? I don't even know where this music came from. I feel like when I first started YouTube, I don't know, I probably downloaded it from the YouTube music library or wherever it came from. But that was kind of like the trend at the time, was like you would basically, like, especially in cooking videos, like you would record what you're doing. And then I felt like when I started YouTube, I felt very like self-conscious about like showing myself on camera, talking through it. And so I thought really the easiest way to get over that is to just record what I'm doing and then I'll record a voiceover later. And I felt really comfortable with that at the time because I had had experience doing that with crafting and scrapbooking videos, and that had worked for me a lot. And so I figured, well, I'll just do the same thing. And honestly, that's a good solution, right? So like even now, if you are thinking about starting YouTube and you're uncomfortable showing yourself on camera, like you can just like film yourself cooking and then put a voiceover over it. So that's totally something that you can still do. And I think it's still a great solution, right? Like especially when you're filming things like this, like I was still editing all my videos at this point. I was just like speeding all the footage up and talking over it. And clearly it was something successful, right? Like it's still one of the most viewed videos on my channel.
So all of those juices that came out of the chicken while it was resting, don't lose that flavor. Once you put the chicken breast in your dish, go ahead and just pour that juice right over top of it. That will help the chicken from drying out while it's in the refrigerator.
Okay, I still very much endorse this technique. When you take your chicken or beef or whatever off the pan and put it on a plate to rest, cover it with foil, let it rest for like 10 to 20 minutes. And whatever juice is left on the plate after you cut up the protein, definitely pour that on whatever you're serving because you don't want to lose those juices and that flavor. Still a good technique.
So the next thing that I wanted to do was for that soup recipe I was telling you guys about earlier. I'm going to make like a chicken vegetable soup in my Instant Pot. It's kind of just a made up recipe, so I don't have any links, but I had some zucchini left over in the refrigerator from last week. I made zoodles, and so I wanted to make sure I use this up. So you can see me just dicing it into small cubes there. And I'm also going to add a pepper to that. And just having this in the refrigerator in a Ziploc bag makes it super easy to throw it in my Instant Pot and cook up that soup this week. You could definitely put these veggies in separate bags if you're concerned about that, but since I'm going to use them all in the same recipe, I think it's just as easy to throw them all in the same Ziploc bag. So here you can see me chopping up a red onion as well, and there are my prepped veggies for my soup this week.
Do you think I remember what soup I was making for that week? No, I don't. I don't, but I still agree with all of those principles. So, if you're making a soup or a stir fry or something in the crock pot, whatever, chop everything up, throw it in a Ziploc bag. Anything, I feel like now that I have more experience and something that I probably need to communicate is that like anything you can get done ahead of time, no matter how small, is going to help you when you get home from work and you don't want to cook dinner. So like when you get home from work at like 5 or 6 p.m. and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to make this soup and I have to chop all these things and blah, blah, blah. Like any barrier is going to prevent you from doing that, right? Which is going to contribute to you either like eating cereal or getting takeout or whatever the case is. So any like small step that you can do ahead of time is always favorable, in my opinion.
I also had several other peppers that I wanted to get cut up. I find that if I prep produce during the weekend, that makes it more likely that we will eat it during the week. So I'm just going to go ahead and slice these 2 peppers into strips, and then I will just pack those in a glass container in the refrigerator, and we can use those for salads and snacking.
More music. It feels very pensive. Apparently here I'm chopping up some salad.
So if you guys have been following me for a little while, you know that I always talk about liking to chop my own lettuce. I just think it tastes so much fresher and it actually lasts a lot longer, I find, in the refrigerator. So here I just had 3 heads of romaine that I wanted to get chopped up to use for salads this week. What I like to do is just chop those up and put them in a salad spinner. I have one with a bowl, and then I squeeze a lemon in there and go ahead and just drop some of the rind in the bowl as well. And then I turn my faucet to the coldest that I can get it to go. And I'm just going to go ahead and fill up my bowl of my salad spinner there. I let that sit in the cold lemon water for probably about 10 minutes before I rinse it off, and then I spin it dry. And this seriously is the best way that I've found to store your lettuce. So I have one of those Rubbermaid containers with a paper towel, and that's how I store it.
Okay, so talking about the lettuce technique, I have kind of deviated from this since this video. I do find that if you cut up lettuce and put it in your refrigerator, even if you soak it with lemon water, it does keep it fresher for a few more days, but it's going to become brown at some point, right? And so what I would recommend to do now that I have more like hindsight is that you should just tear the leaves off of whatever head of lettuce that you're using, wash those and put them in a container, and then you can chop them up as you need them. Because the more that you chop lettuce up, the more chance it has to turn brown. And I guess it just depends if you're going to use it before it turns brown and if that bothers you. So that is kind of what I have recommended at this point. But I will say that I like washing produce in my salad spinner has been one of the things that people have kind of like resonated with the most on my channel, which I still think is a valuable step. If you guys still watch my videos, you know that I still wash all my produce in my salad spinner, and it is a valuable addition to my kitchen.
So next, I'm just going to make some dip for veggies. I'm using some of the Hidden Valley dip mix along with 2 cups of sour cream. And I also find that if you add a little bit of mayo to your sour cream dip, it makes it a little bit rich. And since we're doing keto this week, the fat, doesn't hurt either, since keto is kind of a higher fat diet. I have these little dressing cups that I always get on Amazon, and I'm just going to go ahead and pre-fill about 6 of those with this dip. That way I can pack them with some raw veggies, and we'll have some healthy snacks this week to take to work. I'm also going to go ahead and chop up some broccoli and cauliflower. I have one night this week where we are going to have steamed broccoli and cauliflower with cheese sauce, but I probably won't need all of it. So what I'm going to do is just chop it up, put it all together in a Ziploc bag, and then I can use some of it for snacking veggies and salads, and then the remainder of it we'll use for dinner. For cauliflower, I just think it's easiest to quarter the whole head and then take the core out, and then just chop it up into bite-sized pieces.
Okay, so I still advocate this to this day. Whether you're going to eat veggies raw or steamed or however, cut them up when you get them home from the store, wash them, put them in a Ziploc bag, and put them in your fridge. It obviously makes for the quickest prep whenever you're going to make them or eat them raw. I will say in these particular clips, like I did get, since this video kind of went viral, I didn't know that it was going to go quote viral. Like I think the definition of a quote viral video is that it gets 1 million views or more. I had no idea when I published this video that it was going to go viral, have 1 million views. And so I will say, like, you can see in this video, like I was just filming this in my regular kitchen. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was prepping. You can see my stomach. Okay. Like I am a grown woman who has had 2 children, 3 pregnancies. I've struggled with my weight throughout my life, and yeah, my stomach is there. And so I got a lot of comments about that, like, oh, your gut is like spilling over the counter. Like at the point I was receiving those comments, I was probably deleting them. Like, this is offensive, whatever. And now I don't really give a shit. But at that point, it was kind of it was hurtful. Like the comments were a little bit hurtful, and I don't know. There's no point to that. It's a thing, I mean, whenever you're going to put whenever you are going to put content, it is going to receive comments online. So that's just a learning thing for all of us, right?
I wash that the same way as I do my lettuce, so I just let it soak in some cold water and drain it off, and it's good to go. I also got this cute little baggie of radishes at Aldi, and I wanted to chop those up as well, so I just put them in a strainer and rinse them off under cold water. And then I also had a cucumber that I wanted to get chopped up, so I'm just going to chop that into coins and then go ahead and fill some of these baggies with raw veggies and 1 little cup of dip. This is a super easy way to get your kids to eat vegetables as well. They're great for kids' lunches, for adults' lunches to take on the go. I would totally recommend this idea if you're looking for healthy snacks on the go.
Still agree with that. And I feel like it's still something that I should do to this day, is like people will, and that's the thing, is like also that I learned about posting content online, is that like obviously in this particular video, and this was 6 years ago, and I still do to this point use those little dressing cups and disposables, Ziploc bags and things like that. People will give you a lot of shit online about using disposable items. I would encourage you to, if you're watching this in 2024, there's a documentary on Netflix called Shop Now, and it's basically about how corporations have kind of like, quote, greenwashed us to think that all of our decisions as individual consumers are contributing to the problem of, you know, waste and recycling and all of that. And honestly, like on an individual consumer level, it's probably not a productive conversation to have. And so I still think to this day, you know, whatever allows you to have like healthy dinners for your family, even if you're using, you know, disposable items, is probably the best for you, but obviously open to conversation on that topic.
So here are my completed veggie packs and other raw veggies. I'm going to go ahead and get these in the refrigerator to use this week. So the next thing that I wanted to make was some homemade Caesar salad dressing. I'll leave the link to that in the description box below, but what you need for that is some Worcestershire sauce, some anchovy paste, sour cream, Dijon mustard, some garlic, some mayo, olive oil, 2 lemons juiced, and some salt and pepper. So my favorite way to make this dressing is
okay, I also want to say that one of the other comments that I got on this video, which I feel like honestly, like me not washing the chicken and also me saying Worcestershire sauce, was kind of one of the main things that contributed to kind of like the engagement of this video, right? So like on YouTube, the more comments you get, the more engagement you get, like the more the video is pushed out. And so probably me saying Worcestershire sauce was like people commenting like, you're saying that the wrong way, like whatever. I have since understood how to say it, and I probably still don't say it correctly most of the time. But there you go. I guess at the time I didn't know it was an engagement tactic, and now I know it is.
A food processor. If you don't have a food processor, you could totally either make it in a blender, or you could probably just whisk it up in a bowl as well. So basically, I'm just going to put all of the ingredients in my food processor and blend that up. And this is seriously the freshest, best Caesar salad dressing you will ever taste. When I'm trying to eat healthier and eat a lot of salads, I really like to make homemade dressings because I just feel like they taste so much better. And when I have a dressing that's really good and I'm looking forward to eating, that really helps me get more veggies in and want to eat my salad.
Listen to this music. It's like very upbeat. It is encouraging you to make your own salad dressing. Now, I still agree with this. I think that the dressing will either make or break the salad. So yeah, if you can make your own salad dressing that you think is delicious, you know, jar that up, put it in a bottle, put it in whatever dressing containers you have, and make your meal prep salad out of it.
My favorite way to store homemade dressings is to just put them in a mason jar and keep them in the refrigerator. And this stuff gets better the longer it sits in your refrigerator. I usually don't keep it longer than a week, but it's really good. So the next thing that I'm going to make is some caprese salad. I actually made some of this last week and it was so good I was craving it again. So in my bowl there, I'm just putting some cherry tomatoes as well as some little mozzarella balls. I got those at Aldi. They're very good. I have an herb pot out on my back deck, so I'm just chopping up some basil, a little bit of dill, and a little bit of parsley. I also like to add some red onion and green onion to my caprese as well, along with some olive oil, salt, pepper, and just a tiny little bit of crushed garlic and crushed red pepper flake. I kind of got the idea for this style of caprese from a grocery store up in Iowa City called New Pioneer Co-op. They have a caprese there that I really like, and so I have always just replicated it. And I'll just put this into some glass dishes and put them in the refrigerator for us to eat this week.
Still agree with that. I have not been to New Pioneer Co-op in quite some time, but I do love the idea of the prepped caprese salad, and I still endorse all of the ingredients I put in that. It's delicious, and I recommend it.
So I think I've shared this idea before on my channel, but I have these little snack boxes. They're the Sistema brand. I think I got them a long time ago at Aldi, but you can also find them on Amazon as well. But I like to make these little snack packs with cubed cheese and meat and nuts. I just think they're a great high protein, low carb snack to have on hand in the refrigerator, and my kids like them as well. So I used some pepper jack cheese and some smoked Gouda cheese that I had in the refrigerator. And then I went ahead and put some beef sticks in there that I chopped up along with some of these gourmet olive oil and herb almonds. They're really good. So I love having these on hand in the fridge to snack on.
I still endorse this snack. Actually, this is making me think of like more in recent future, I have purchased snacks like these. And I think like 6 years later, as I'm looking at this, there are more like packaged snacks like this, but this is something super easy to put together, especially if you want something high protein, nuts, cheese, meat. Yeah, I still support that.
So if you guys have ever done low carb or keto before, you know that one of the big things that you can eat and do eat on this diet is bacon. And so I find it's a lot easier for me to cook it up ahead of time and just have it in the refrigerator so that we can use it for salads and breakfast during the week. I tried not to cook it too crispy because some of these I was going to use for my Instant Pot egg bites, which I'll be making later in this video. Those are a breakfast meal prep. So I just went ahead and cooked this on medium on the stove until it was nice and crispy. So now I'm going to get started on those egg bites. If you want a longer video on this, I actually have one of these videos on my channel for the Instant Pot sous vide egg bites. They're the copycat Starbucks recipe, but basically you just mix up your eggs, your cheese, cottage cheese, cream, some hot sauce, and salt and pepper. I like to use an immersion blender. I don't have a clip of that, but just so you know, that's how I mixed it up. And then I just
still recommend this recipe. In fact, if you watched my Vlogmas video yesterday, you saw me talk about this particular method of kind of like sous vide Instant Pot egg bites, which is basically you put all of the ingredients of the egg bites into these molds, and I can link them down below. And then you pour the egg mixture over them, and then you kind of like steam them in the Instant Pot, which is sort of I would say like a shortcut, kind of sous vide method, but they're very good and they're high protein and low carb and they're delicious.
take these little silicone molds that I got on Amazon, put some crumbled bacon in the bottom of each one, and then just pour in the egg mixture, trying to equally distribute it over all of the cups. And then all you do is just put it in your Instant Pot and steam it, and these come out really, really delicious. If you've ever had the one from Starbucks, they don't taste exactly like it, I don't think, but they're really good, and we like to have them for breakfast during the work week. So you can see I have my Instant Pot here with 2 of those stacked one on top of the other. I have a cup of water in the bottom with the trivet. I'm just going to go ahead and put my lid on, and then I will set it to 8 minutes on the steam setting. When it's done, you want to do a 10-minute natural pressure release, and then go ahead and vent it and take the lid off. See how puffy and delicious they are? I actually had one of these for breakfast this morning with some avocado and lime juice. It was so good. So the next thing I'm going to do is just let them cool slightly, and then I will put them in some glass containers to have for the work week. You only need to heat these up for about a minute in the microwave and you're good to go.
I'm gonna vibe to this Dr. YouTube music.
Okay, so since we're going on a keto or low carb diet, I also wanted to have some.
I have no idea what we're making next. I have not watched this video that has been on my channel for 6 years and so long, but I'm looking at this saucepan that I'm using, and I know that I do not have it in my kitchen anymore. If you all were born in the 80s, late 70s, you probably recognize this cookware. It was some type of like glass cookware. This one has a nonstick bottom, which is very original, and I wish I still had this in my kitchen. I can't remember what it was called, but here we go.
Sweets on hand as well. There's not a lot of dessert type food that you can have on this particular diet, which is fine. I'm not really a dessert person anyway, but I saw a few recipes online that I wanted to try. The first thing I'm going to make is these little low carb peanut butter and jelly cups. So first, what you see me doing there is making the raspberry filling. You just cook raspberries on the stove with a little bit of water, and then add in some powdered stevia, or you could use Splenda as well, and add some gelatin in, and this will help thicken it up. I ended up having to use a whisk to make sure that everything was incorporated. But once that's done, you've basically just kind of made a quick homemade raspberry jam. So go ahead and let that cool, and then you can make the actual peanut butter cup part. So you just use 3/4 of a cup of.
Okay, so what I remember now about this recipe is that it was a kind of dessert recipe, and that it was like peanut butter and raspberry jam slash jelly keto dessert cups. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I don't remember exactly.
Of creamy peanut butter. The lowest carb I could find was Skippy, and then 3/4 of a cup of coconut oil. You just melt that in the microwave for about a minute until it is nice and fluid, and then I added a couple tablespoons of powdered stevia as well. So what I have here is just a muffin tray with some silicone liners. I got those on Amazon, and just pour a little bit into the bottom of each cup. Go ahead and put those in the freezer for about 15 minutes and they'll harden up. Then you can go ahead and add your raspberry jam.
Okay, so yeah, now I'm remembering this recipe. So basically it's like kind of a peanut butter cup that you can make in a muffin tin, which is layered with raspberry jelly. I remember eating these and they were good. So I don't know if I made this again, I wouldn't necessarily make the quantity that I'm making in this video, but they are good.
To the middle, and then you'll pour again the rest of the peanut butter on top, and then put them back in the freezer for again about 10 to 15 minutes until they harden up. These are seriously good. I know that they're sort of like a diet food, like a low carb thing, but they actually taste like a peanut butter and jelly candy. So I was actually really happy with this recipe. If you're interested in checking it out, I'll leave a link below.
for the record, I still really enjoy peanut butter and jelly flavor. Like, okay, so as of now that I'm filming this video in late 2024, I just noticed at Dollar General that they have peanut butter and jelly M&Ms, which is kind of a unique flavor, but I still love the peanut butter and jelly flavor of anything, honestly.
So these are really easy to peel out of the silicone muffin cups, and then I just went ahead and put them in individual baggies. You want to make sure that you store these in the refrigerator, because if you don't, they will for sure melt. But actually I put one in Adam's lunch today and he liked them as well. So the last recipe that I'm going to make is some allspice muffins. These are low carb sweet muffins, and they're from the Keto Diet book by Leanne Vogel. What you're going to need is some walnuts, some coconut oil, a lemon, some almond flour, some powdered stevia, some baking powder, some allspice. You will also need some vanilla extract, as well as some salt, some ground flax seed, and some eggs.
I don't know why, but this stock music like gives me like vibes from when I used to make these videos. I do remember this being a good recipe. I don't have this cookbook anymore, so let me know if you've tried this.
So for this recipe, you will just mix together all of your dry ingredients together in a bowl, and I just went ahead and whisked those together with a fork to combine them all before I added my wet ingredients. These muffins actually turned out pretty darn good. If you guys have ever eaten anything sugar-free before, you know that sometimes the texture can be off, the flavor could be off, and to me they kind of just taste like a little spice cake with some nuts on top. I think that they will be really good to have on hand for this week if we feel like we need something sweet for breakfast or for a dessert. But basically, that's all this recipe is. Just like any muffin recipe, it's pretty simple. Just combine everything together in a bowl, whisk it up, and pour it in your muffin tins. For this recipe, I used paper muffin tins that I had pre-sprayed with a little bit of nonstick spray, and it worked perfectly. I also like mixing muffins in this batter bowl that I have because it has a spout, although I did not use it for this particular.
Highly recommend that batter bowl. I think it's by Anchor Hawking. So I'll link that down below. I still use this batter bowl to this day. But especially for like muffins, I'm going to use the scooper that I still use.
Particular recipe, I used an ice cream scoop, but that's a good one to have on hand, especially if you like to make muffins or other baked goods. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these in the muffin cups, and I'll bake those off, and then I'll show you what they look like when they come out of the oven. Okay, so here are these muffins all baked up. You can see that the walnuts got nice and toasted on top of the muffins. I went ahead and froze half of these and put the other half in an airtight container. So that's it, guys. I hope that you got some inspiration for your own meal prep. Like I said, whether you're doing keto or another diet, or whether you're not following any diet, I really think that it's smart to have food on hand like this in the refrigerator so that you and your family can make healthier choices throughout the week. So thanks again for watching. I will actually be posting what I eat in a day keto video sometime at the end of this week, so make sure that you're subscribed. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Okay. So I guess that's the end of the video. Yeah, I mean, I still stand by what I said 6 years ago, right? So like whatever you're doing, you know, the amount of prep that you can get done beforehand is always helpful, you know, especially as a working mom. And honestly, like as I'm kind of talking about this at the end of the video, like the the main thing that I always wanted to kind of communicate on my channel is that, you know, if you are busy and you are trying to get dinner on the table for your family, is that you can always do things ahead of time to help yourself, right? So whether that's like just planning or chopping ingredients or like whatever, you know, whatever capacity you have is good. And you can see like in my kind of like post screen here that I had, I was still scrapbooking home recipes hauls. Yeah, that's what I was doing at the time. And when I first started my YouTube channel, that was kind of the thing is like I felt like there was a content gap, right? Like I wanted to share things that working moms could do to make their life easier in the kitchen, and that's how I still feel, right? Like I think that, you know, there's a lot of like stay-at-home moms or work at home moms or like whatever you call it now on YouTube. But for those of us who work outside the home and have super busy schedules, there are still, you know, solutions and things that we can use to make our meals easier and our family life better. So thank you so much for watching this video of Vlogmas. Let me know what you thought about this. This is kind of a non-traditional video that I've done here on my channel. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next Vlogmas episode. Bye.